For years of college, I had 569 food deliveries stolen. It wasn't until just before graduation that I posted on the school forum. Of those 569 stolen orders, I'd lace 566 of them with my own shit. The forum exploded, and so did the serial food thieves. That day, countless people reported me to the university for poisoning. I just laughed and threw down my senior thesis. The enhancement of compost quality through the mixture of excrement and organic foodstuffs. A study on carbon to nitrogen ratios and the decomposition process. Poisoning? Please. It was just research for my thesis. At 1:30 a.m., the school forum blew up. Everyone was talking about the post ID just made. Some people were literally slapping their sleeping roommates awake. Wake up, something insane just happened. There's this total badass who had 569 deliveries stolen over 4 years, never said a word, and spiked 566 of them with shit. The food thieves' world is about to come crashing down. The newly awakened roommate, hearing such explosive news, was instantly wide awake, forgetting to even be mad. He just grabbed his phone and started sharing it everywhere. My post spread like a virus. The school's server crashed from the sheer volume of traffic. It hadn't even been 10 minutes since I posted. The comment count had already shot past 999 plus. Yes. 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 Our AG school has the worst food theft problem of all the universities around here. Let's see who dares to steal a delivery now. 569 orders, at 15 a pop. That's 8,535. That's over 2,000 a year. Broke students, don't try this at home. Our school has suffered from food thieves for way too long. This will go down in campus history. You absolute legend, post your Venmo. I want to contribute to cleaning up this campus. Food theft had practically become our school's defining feature. Everyone was sick to death of the thieves. I had endured for 4 whole years, just for this moment of payback. I still remember it clearly. Freshman year, I skipped breakfast and my blood sugar crashed. I felt dizzy and weak all through gym class. I quickly ordered a chicken and rice bowl to the campus entrance. But by the time I got to the delivery drop-off table, my life-saving meal had vanished. Back then, I naively thought someone had just grabbed it by mistake, so I ordered another one, this time to my dorm. It got stolen again. I was about to lose my mind. But it was an emergency, so I had to order a third time. This time, I waited right downstairs by the entrance. I dared anyone to try and steal this one. Unbelievably, that one disappeared too. I later checked with the delivery driver and found out some girl had intercepted him at the campus gate and taken my food. I was running on empty, and my sanity was shot. From that moment on, I swore I would make the food thieves pay. After that, I always ordered 2 meals. One for me, and one for my little science project. I'm an agricultural science major, so I was already used to dealing with manure. To me, it was just academic material. I had no problem handling it. I kept this up for 4 years, only revealing it right before graduation. I wanted every single food thief to be haunted by the terror of an AG student every time they sat down to eat for the rest of their lives. I thought everyone would be on my side. But it didn't take long for the comments to turn on me. More and more people started criticizing me, and even those who cheered me on were getting attacked. Putting that stuff in food? How is that any different from poisoning? And you're all praising her for it? Do students here have no morals? We're all students here who would steal food. They probably just grabbed the wrong order by mistake. It happens all the time. To make such a big deal over a single delivery, you're embarrassing the whole school. Everyone report this post. I'm reporting her for poisoning tomorrow. We can't let a horrible person like this graduate. Exactly. She just lost a delivery, but other people could be eating bacteria and viruses. This should be a criminal offense. Does anyone know which class this compost theory practitioner is in? I've got a little present I'd like to deliver to her. I was a bit stunned by the flood of accusations. How did I suddenly become the bad guy? Utterly speechless, I replied with a meme. Confused Nick Young face. What is wrong with people? No one was yelling at the thieves, but the victim me was suddenly public enemy number 1. Their comments made my hands tremble as I typed. I've noted the usernames of the ones screaming the loudest. If you didn't steal it, why are you so defensive? If you didn't eat it, why are you attacking me? That classic comeback always works. Shout out to the judge who once said, if you didn't hit him, why would you help him? A moment after I posted my reply, my notifications hit 999 plus. I didn't even bother to open them. I knew it was just more hate mail. Just then, the forum's server crashed again. I tried refreshing for a while, but it seemed down for the count, so I just went to sleep. But I knew one thing for sure. A lot of people weren't getting any sleep tonight. I was woken up early the next morning by a lot of noise. My roommate, Chloe, was slamming things around, clearly furious. This person is disgusting. This is poisoning. I'm reporting this to the school. We can't let this kind of criminal activity slide. My other roommates, Heather and Megan, were jolted awake. After seeing the post, they were instantly wide-eyed. They immediately joined the chorus of outrage. She's sick. How could someone like that exist? We'll go with you to report her. If the school won't do anything, we'll call the police. We can't let someone like that graduate and endanger society. Since I'd gone to bed early, they were only just now seeing the post. And they were having a complete meltdown. It was the classic delayed reaction of the guilty parties. The more they thought about it, the angrier they got, and they decided to go straight to our advisor. They came over to my bed and shook me awake. Sophie, come with us to see the advisor. There's strength in numbers. We have to find this poisoner and make sure she gets the punishment she deserves. Yeah, not only should her diploma be revoked, but it needs to go on her permanent record. We can't let a bad person like her off the hook. I irritably pushed their hands away. Punishment? Why should she be punished? Shouldn't the food thieves be the ones getting punished? If you're going to the advisor to track down the thieves, I'm with you. Otherwise, count me out. My constant repetition of food thieves clearly hit a nerve with Chloe, and she instantly saw red. What is wrong with you, Sophie? Have you no decency? We're all high-achieving students here. No one steals food, they just grab the wrong bag sometimes. With so many people ordering food every day, mistakes happen. You're so nasty, no wonder you don't have any friends. Heather and Megan were quick to pile on. Exactly. Just because a delivery goes missing doesn't mean it was stolen. Maybe the driver delivered it to the wrong place, or maybe a stray cat dragged it away if it was left out too long. We have a lot of strays on campus, you know. Why just assume someone stole it? People who assume the worst of others are usually the bad ones themselves. You're defending the poster so much. Wait, are you the compost theory practitioner? I almost laughed in their faces. The victim blaming was unreal. I decided I was done playing nice with them. We were about to graduate anyway. We'd never see each other again, so who cares if we fall out? You're all so desperate to find the poster. Maybe you're the ones who've been stealing the food. What the hell did you just say? That's slander. You're defaming us. You've violated our right to a good name. Just wait until you get disciplined for this. Chloe, Heather, and Megan stormed off to find our advisor, while I just rolled over and went back to sleep. When I woke up and checked my phone, my comments, shares, and DMs were all at 999. It was my first time feeling like an internet celebrity, but my DMs were filled with nothing but hate mail and vile curses. They were even threatening to send wreaths to my funeral. This person's actions are truly evil. Who can guarantee she's telling the truth about only spiking 569 orders? Who can guarantee she only did it 569 times? And who can guarantee that the food you've eaten wasn't spiked by her? If you've ever ordered food delivery, you have to stand up. If I stay silent today, who will speak for me when it's my turn? And to the original poster, stop making baseless accusations. The students here are upstanding citizens. Who would steal food? If your delivery goes missing, maybe you should think about what you did wrong. Did you go down to get it right away? Did you confirm with the driver? Ever since that comment appeared, the tide had completely turned against me. Even people who had defended me in the comments were getting swarmed and silenced the moment they posted. After failing to dox me, people started demanding I release my personal information, my class, and my dorm building. Not knowing my identity meant that for 4 years, every single person who had stolen food, taken food by mistake, or even just ordered food might have gotten a taste of my thesis defense before the actual presentation. They were all panicking. The whole thing had become Schrodinger's delivery. No one could be sure if their past orders had been enhanced. Early this morning, a group of students cornered Mr. Reynolds, the IT admin in charge of the school's forum, demanding he give them my personal information. Mr. Reynolds had been called in the middle of the night to deal with the server crash, and had been up all night fixing it. He was already in a foul mood, and was just about to catch some sleep when he was blocked by a crowd of students. Seeing the mob surrounding him, he knew that while some were surely the food thieves, most were just followers jumping on the bandwagon. Mr. Reynolds had a short fuse to begin with, and at that moment, he couldn't stop himself from laying into them. What are you all crowded around for? Got nothing better to do? You're college students, learn to think for yourselves. If you didn't steal anything, this has nothing to do with you. And for those of you who did, you got what you deserved. Of course, Mr. Reynolds knew my identity and the whole story, but protecting student privacy was his responsibility. Besides, his own deliveries were frequently stolen, so my actions gave him a sense of vicarious satisfaction. But he forgot one thing. College students are full of righteous anger. Did he really think they would just stand there and take a lecture? Someone threw the first punch, and the scene instantly devolved into chaos. Mr. Reynolds was kicked and punched over 200 times, but he never gave up my information. It wasn't until some of the more level-headed students called the police and their advisors that the crowd was broken up. Assaulting a teacher is a serious offense. The students who led the attack were taken in for questioning. Barring a miracle, they wouldn't be getting their diplomas. After that incident, violent behavior on campus dropped dramatically. With graduation so close, no one wanted to risk losing their diploma. I didn't find out what had happened until hours later. I couldn't help but think, Mr. Reynolds is a real one. I felt terrible that he had been attacked because of me. I also realized my post might have had too wide of a blast radius. So I quickly logged back into the forum and updated my post. The original poster lives in Dorm 6. Students in other dorms can relax and stop getting involved. And for those of you who didn't steal anything, stop jumping on the bandwagon. If you're that bored, go bang your head against a wall. If you didn't do it, why are you so worked up? Sure enough, after that post, students from all the other dorms backed off. Just knowing my general location was enough to put most people's minds at ease. But for the girls in Dorm 6, their world had just come crashing down. I didn't bother reading their replies. I went to a fruit stand, bought a gift basket, and headed straight for the hospital. Mr. Reynolds was hurt because of me. I couldn't just ignore it. When I saw him, he still had enough energy to be cursing up a storm, which was a relief. Mr. Reynolds was happy to see me. He wasn't bothered by his injuries at all. Don't feel bad, Sophie. I'm fine. The school works me like a dog anyway. This is a good excuse to get a few days of rest. I totally support what you did. If I weren't a teacher, I would have done the same thing long ago. This campus has had this nasty habit for who knows how long. Food theft is practically our school's brand now. I'm embarrassed to even tell people I teach here. But now that you've revealed your dorm building, it's only a matter of time before they figure out it's you. What's your plan? I told Mr. Reynolds not to worry. I had just found an internship and was about to move out anyway. Besides, I had no intention of letting these food thieves off the hook easily. After years of stealing, they still had the gall to stand on a moral high ground and judge others. The world doesn't work that way. I moved out of the dorm that same day. Seniors don't have to be on campus much anyway, just for the final thesis defense and graduation ceremony. Plus, I was afraid of getting jumped if my identity was fully exposed. My little body couldn't take a beating like Mr. Reynolds. Chloe had rallied a group of people to go to our advisor, hoping to find the original poster. After hearing their exaggerated version of the story, our advisor, Ms. Tong, was furious. She was determined to punish the poster and prevent her from graduating. But Ms. Tong didn't have the authority to access private student information. She could only send a message to our class group chat. A very serious incident has occurred recently. Someone has been poisoning student food deliveries. The only graduating students living in Dorm 6 are in our class. If anyone has information, please message me privately. You'll get a 30-point bonus on your thesis defense. The students were excited by the offer, A 30-point bonus was basically a guaranteed pass. But no one had any leads, so they just started speculating in the chat. Chloe was the first to speak, pointing the finger directly at me. It's highly likely it was Sophie. She suddenly moved out of the dorm today. I think she was fleeing out of guilt. Heather immediately chimed in. It has to be her. This morning, when we said we should all go to the advisor together, she refused and even defended the poisoner. And she has such a withdrawn personality, no friends. She seems like the type who would do something like this. It's definitely her. I couldn't believe it. The discussion had just started, and they were already all blaming me. Some other students were more rational. We can't jump to conclusions without proof. But when our class met with the advisor today, only Sophie and Linda didn't show up. Right now, they are the most likely suspects. Shortly after that message, Linda replied in the group. It wasn't me. I saw Sophie today when I was working my part-time job at the hospital entrance. She was carrying a fruit basket, probably to visit Mr. Reynolds. The person who made the post is probably her. I remembered Linda. She was introverted and came from a poor family, so not many people wanted to be her friend. I'd felt sorry for her, always eating plain meals, and had treated her to a few dinners before. I never thought she'd be the first one to rat me out. But I wasn't planning on hiding it anyway. I didn't want them to bother Mr. Reynolds again. So I opened a private chat with our advisor, Ms. Tong. Ms. Tong, I know who it is. The poster is me. Don't forget to add those 30 points to my grade. Then I sent another message in the group chat. Hey everyone, the poster is me. No need to DM Ms. Tong. I'll be taking that 30-point bonus, thanks. If someone was going to benefit, it might as well be me. I'll gladly take those 30 points. The class chat exploded. And so did Ms. Tong. You have some nerve. After committing such a huge offense, you still want bonus points? You'll be lucky to get your diploma at all. Given Sophie's heinous actions, her graduation eligibility is hereby revoked. I will also formally submit a request to the department to have this rotten apple expelled. Ms. Tong, that's too lenient. She poisoned people. We have to call the police and send her to prison. The chat was in an uproar. Although Ms. Tong thought my actions were despicable, she didn't think it warranted prison time. So she tagged me. Sophie, apologize to your classmates and try to gain their forgiveness. Then leave the university and turn over a new leaf. Become a better person. I read their messages with a deep sense of exhaustion. I just sent another meme to the group. Confused Nick Young face. Wait. What did I do wrong that I need to apologize for? Shouldn't the food thieves be apologizing to me? Seeing my lack of remorse, Ms. Tong became even more enraged. Everything requires proof. You posted about poisoning your classmates yourself. You can't deny that. But you claim others stole your food. Where's the proof? Poisoning your classmates and refusing to admit you're wrong. I'm reporting you to the school for expulsion right now. The students in my class would never steal food. At worst, they might have taken it by mistake, which is normal with so many deliveries. You blew this tiny issue way out of proportion, escalating it to the point of poisoning students. A student like you must be expelled. With the advisor backing them, Chloe and the others became even more smug. That's right, expel her. And put it on her permanent record so she can't harm society. She's just a naturally bad person. She must be severely punished. We should also report this to her hometown authorities, so they know what a menace she is. Wow. Not only were they incapable of telling right from wrong, but they were also trying to ruin my future. These people were truly vicious. I was furious. You stole my food, and now you're trying to destroy me. You're the ones who are naturally bad. As soon as I said that, Chloe and the others quickly refuted it. Ms. Tong already said, everything needs proof. You say we stole your food. Where's the evidence? If you can't produce any, we'll sue you for slander and defamation for damaging our reputation. Fine. You want proof? I'll give you proof. I sent a series of videos to the group chat. They were crystal clear clips of the girls taking food from the delivery table. Across from our dorm was a row of small shops, and one of the restaurants had a security camera that happened to be pointed directly at our building's delivery drop-off spot. Ever since my food started getting stolen, I'd become a regular at that restaurant and told the owner about my plight. The owner was cool about it and let me review his security footage. The moment the videos were posted, the entire group chat fell silent. Even the girls' boyfriends let out a collective dry heave. They'd often shared food with their girlfriends, who had been unknowingly consuming my special ingredients. Which meant they had eaten it too. Chloe and the others' faces turned shades of green and red. The videos clearly showed them. There was no denying it. They were sure they had checked for cameras at the time. How could they have been filmed? As they scrambled for a response, Megan had a moment of desperate genius. So what? Is there a problem with us picking up our own food? What's the point of showing these videos to confuse everyone? Chloe and the others immediately caught on and followed her lead. Right, we were just getting our own deliveries. You're a truly horrible person for maliciously filming us and framing us. And I suspect she never even had her food stolen at all. She probably just made the whole thing up for attention, to give herself a justification for poisoning people. And she was secretly filming us without our knowledge. God knows how many videos she has that she hasn't released. My reputation is ruined. I want to jump off a building. All I can say is, when someone has no shame, they're truly invincible. It was true that the camera was far away, so you couldn't read the order slips clearly. If they just kept insisting it was their own food, it would be hard to prove otherwise. Hearing the mention of suicide, Ms. Tong's anxiety spiked. She immediately turned her fury on me. You are a naturally bad person. A poisoner. A stalker. And you refuse to admit you're wrong. Every single thing you've done is unforgivable. Even if you don't want your diploma and never come back to school, you can't run from this. It was truly the age of whoever cries the loudest and has the least shame wins. I was beyond speechless. You say I'm a poisoner and a stalker? Where's your proof? I'm truly amazed by your thick skin. The post you made, the videos you just sent, isn't that all proof? The evidence is undeniable, and you're still trying to deny it. This was so absurd I had to laugh. Take a closer look. The video angle is from the restaurant across from the dorm. They were monitoring their own property and the immediate vicinity, which is perfectly legal. As for my post, that was a record of my academic research. What law did that break? Hearing me continue to argue, they got more and more agitated. Such clever words, such bald-faced lies. Academic research. You think you're worthy? I knew I couldn't reason with them, so I just dropped a link into the chat. It was my senior thesis, published on a major academic database. The enhancement of compost quality through the mixture of excrement and organic foodstuffs. A study on carbon to nitrogen ratios and the decomposition process. The moment they saw the title and my name as the author, everyone shut up. They never expected my research to be so unconventional. They were even more shocked that I had already published my thesis in an academic journal before even defending it. After a long silence, Megan finally piped up. Even so, that doesn't clear you of poisoning. If they were lab materials, why did you leave them on the delivery table? What if someone took them by mistake? I think you did it on purpose. Chloe and Heather quickly agreed. Exactly. She used academic research as a cover to poison people. Sophie, stop trying to twist the facts, you malicious woman. I knew they would say that. I took a screenshot of a section of my thesis and posted it in the group, along with a few photos. A sealed, stable environment after mixing ammonia with organic food enhances compost quality. To get precise data, I had to mix the raw materials quickly and place them in the sun to simulate a natural environment. We're all advanced students here. You understand that in an experiment, the slightest deviation can ruin everything. And I clearly marked all my experimental materials. Not only did I put lab stickers on them, I also wrote a clear note on the receipt. Everyone clicked on my photos to take a look. Sure enough, on the receipt, they found a line of small print. Compost experiment material. Do not touch. Handle at your own risk. The delivery bag also had a large, yellow hazardous materials sticker on it. Seeing this, half the girls in Dorm 6 turned pale. They remembered seeing those stickers. At the time, they thought it was just a silly trick by the restaurants to scare off thieves. They didn't take it seriously and ate the food anyway, which meant they had, in fact, eaten the special ingredients. Gag. A wave of retching could be heard coming from Dorm 6. After a long while, Chloe, her face ashen, picked up her phone. Her fingers trembling, she started typing in the group chat. Sophie UF. She stopped herself just in time. She realized that if she cursed me out right then, it would be an admission that they had indeed stolen the food. So they had to swallow this bitter pill, whether they liked it or not. But then she quickly thought of a new line of attack. Sophie, you are guilty of two major crimes. First, you failed to properly secure your experimental materials, which could have been taken by classmates by mistake. I have reasonable suspicion that you were intentionally trying to poison people. Second, you wasted food. Our school motto is to appreciate every grain of rice, yet you use fresh food for your experiments. For wasting food alone, you are not worthy of being a student here, and you don't deserve to graduate. Wasting food was indeed a cardinal sin at an agricultural university. Seeing Chloe find such a sharp angle, the other girls quickly piled on with their own accusations. Even Ms. Tong joined in. I'll add a third crime. Sophie is guilty of three things. The third is harming her classmates and refusing to admit fault, showing an extremely poor attitude. Students, rest assured, as your advisor, I will absolutely not allow someone who violates our school motto and harms her classmates to graduate. My worldview was being shattered every minute of the day. Thankfully, I was prepared. Wasting food? Who saw me waste food? I invite my fellow students to look at the 9th section of my thesis. Component analysis of budget delivery meals, and an exploration of their feasibility as a compost raw material. Seeing me still arguing, their curiosity was piqued, and they all started reading that section. The more they read, the more horrified they became, their faces growing paler and paler. Some with weaker stomachs even threw up on the spot. The section detailed my experimental data. I had collected 566 samples. All of them tested positive for E. coli, bifidobacterium, aflatoxins, and several other types of bacteria, with levels that were off the charts. Eating those meals was worse than eating straight-up shit. The budget meals were not fit for human consumption, but as a compost material, they had surprisingly powerful effects, significantly improving the quality of the compost. At that moment, regardless of whether they had stolen the food or not, everyone felt sick. Every single person in that chat had, at some point, ordered one of those cheap meals to save money. According to my research, eating those meals was actually worse than eating my special ingredients. Come on, guys. I ordered 2 meals a day for 4 years. I'm not some rich kid. Of course I ordered you guys the cheap stuff. At 4 a pop, I could actually afford it. The thought that they had been eating toxic food for years, potentially causing hidden health problems, sent Chloe over the edge. At this point, she didn't care about being exposed as a thief. Sophie, I hope you rot in hell. You knew it was poison, and you intentionally fed it to us. Tell me where you are, I've got a little present for you. Then she started frantically tagging the advisor, Ms. Tong. Ms. Tong, I was poisoned, but I can't get justice, and the culprit is still at large. I see no hope in life. I'm done. Don't try to find me, you won't. If we're destined, we'll meet in the next life. I'll be your student again. Immediately after, Heather, Megan, and 6 other girls sent the exact same message. Then they all went offline and vanished. This sent Ms. Tong into a panic. She'd only been an advisor for 2 years. How did she end up in such a massive mess? If those girls were gone, her career was over. She tried calling Chloe and the others, but no one answered. They weren't in their dorms, and no one knew where they had gone. In a panic, she called me directly. Sophie, this is all your fault. If you had just admitted you were wrong and apologized, Chloe and the others wouldn't have been driven to this. If anything happens to them, you'll be a murderer. It was just a few stolen deliveries. Did you have to take it this far? Now you will find them immediately, get on your knees, and beg for their forgiveness. If you don't, you can forget about your diploma. I'll also write this incident into your permanent record and inform your hometown authorities so everyone back home can see what kind of person you really are. I'd lost count of how many times I'd been left speechless. I had no idea how this incompetent woman ever became an advisor. She couldn't tell right from wrong. Ms. Tong, in this world, the person who cries the loudest isn't automatically right. I'm the one whose food was stolen, they're the thieves. How did I become the bad guy? If they're really dead, it has nothing to do with me. But you, as their advisor, listened to one side of the story, handled the situation improperly, and failed to distinguish right from wrong. You're the one who's going to be seen as a murderer. They're missing, and instead of calling the police, you call me? What the hell is wrong with you, you incompetent moron? Being yelled at seemed to snap Ms. Tong back to reality. Right. The police. I have to call the police. The police arrived on the scene quickly. They also summoned me for questioning. Officer, it's her, Sophie. She poisoned her classmates, which is why the other girls are now suicidal. I did not. I have no idea what you're talking about. Stop making things up. Ms. Tong started pointing fingers, and naturally, I wasn't going to stand for it. But the police weren't interested in our bickering. 9 female college students were potentially involved in a group suicide, a major incident. They had no time for our petty drama. Using a series of technical tracking methods, they located the girls' IP addresses at a karaoke bar near the campus. A fleet of police cars swarmed the front of the karaoke bar, scaring the owner half to death, who thought he was being raided. When the police kicked down the door to the private room, they found the 9 girls laughing and singing, not looking the least bit suicidal. The police were completely dumbfounded. But since the case also involved alleged poisoning on campus, they had to take all of us back to the station for questioning. Chloe and the other girls glared at me viciously. You're finished, Sophie. Poisoning so many people, you'll get at least 10 years for this. It's the only way to appease public anger. Exactly. We're just the ones brave enough to speak up. Who knows how many others you've harmed? When we get back, we're going to rally everyone else you've poisoned to press charges. You'll be lucky if you don't get a life sentence. If you get on your knees and beg us right now, we might be merciful and get you a few years off your sentence. Our advisor, Ms. Tong, was right there fanning the flames. Sophie, just apologized to Chloe and the others. It might lighten your punishment later. Oh, so if I apologize, you'll let me go? Chloe and the girls burst out laughing, looking at me like I was an idiot. As if, we're just messing with you. We will never let you go. Just get ready to rot in prison. Someone like you deserves it. Looking at their ugly, smug faces, I couldn't stand it anymore. If I'm guilty of a crime, the law will punish me, not a bunch of pathetic clowns trying to frame me. And let me tell you, I'm not letting this go either. I will pursue this to the very end. Your theft of my food and your slander against me. The whole way to the station was filled with our shouting. The police didn't just take their word for it, they conducted a thorough investigation. They reviewed my thesis and the extensive supporting materials that proved I was conducting academic research. Moreover, my experimental materials were clearly labeled with their purpose and potential risks. They even replicated parts of my experiment based on my report's contents. They found that the bacteria levels in the cheap delivery meals were indeed higher than in my spike samples. Therefore, my actions did not constitute poisoning. At most, it was a moral failing for not properly securing my research materials, but it wasn't illegal. When the girls heard this result, they completely lost it, causing a scene at the police station and demanding justice. But this wasn't a place where the loudest crier wins facts mattered. Their tantrum was useless. Just as they accepted reality and were about to leave, I immediately filed a report with the police. Officer, over my 4 years of college, a total of 566 of my food deliveries were stolen. This involves a significant amount of money and a high frequency of incidents. These individuals here are the primary suspects. Furthermore, they have repeatedly slandered and defamed me in public, violating my personal reputation and causing me significant emotional distress. I request a formal investigation. Hearing my report to the police, the girls froze, standing there in stunned silence, as if I was going to let them just walk out of here like nothing happened. Chloe and the others immediately panicked. Slander. That's blatant slander. Officer, you can't believe her lies. We are upstanding students. How could we do something like that? I want to sue her for defamation, too. She has tarnished our reputations. She's a menace. As things were about to escalate again, the police quickly separated us. But the theft of 566 deliveries was frequent enough to be considered a major theft case. The police opened an investigation immediately. I provided the security footage and screenshots of all the cheap delivery orders I had placed over the years. The evidence was clear. As the evidence mounted against them, Chloe and the girls lost their initial arrogance, their heads hanging low. When they heard the final outcome could include fines and jail time, they could no longer remain calm. Fines and detention were one thing, but if this went on their permanent record, their dreams of getting a government job were over. They couldn't hold back any longer and rushed over to me. "Sophie, we were wrong. We didn't mean to take your food. There were so many deliveries, we just grabbed the wrong ones by mistake. It's not that big of a deal, right? You're a bigger person than this. Please just let it go this one time." Our advisor, Ms. Tong, chimed in to help. "Sophie, you're all classmates. It's not worth blowing up such a small issue like this. Be generous, let it go, and I'll make sure you pass your thesis defense, no questions asked." Seeing them still refuse to properly admit fault, I laughed. "Grab the wrong ones? Between all of you, you mistakenly took almost 500 orders. You're telling me that was a mistake? How blind would you have to be? And just a little while ago, weren't you all saying you'd never let me go? If I had been charged with poisoning, be honest with yourselves, would you have let me go? Let me tell you, I am pursuing this to the very end." Ms. Tong looked like she'd had enough. "That's enough, Sophie. They were just joking with you earlier. Is there any point in making such a big deal out of this? Reconcile with Chloe and the others right now, or you can forget about graduating from my department." With someone backing them up, Chloe and the girls started getting cocky again. I truly had no idea how Ms. Tong ever became an advisor. Just as I was about to fire back, the investigating officer slammed his hand on the table. "What do you think this place is? The value of the food Ms. Sophie lost is well over the threshold for a criminal case. This isn't something you can just reconcile and make go away." Hearing that a criminal case could be opened, the girls finally panicked for real. Though they still clung to a sliver of hope. Even if we did take a few more deliveries by mistake, the threshold for a felony is over 3,000. The cheap food Sophie ordered was only a few bucks a pop. We didn't even come close to that amount. At worst, we each pay you back a little. Is it really worth all this? This was a point I had been worried about. While the total value was high, when divided among them, it might not meet the threshold for a felony. Just as I was wondering what to do, the officer spoke up. "While the total amount per person may not meet the felony threshold, each of you has committed theft multiple times. The evidence is conclusive, and the circumstances are serious, which constitutes a criminal offense. In a situation like this, whether the amount reaches 3,000 is no longer the sole basis for a crime. Theft is a felony. This case has been officially opened and must be fully investigated. As criminal suspects, you will not escape the consequences of the law." Hearing the officer's words, you could physically see the panic set in. At this point, they threw all pride and dignity out the window and surrounded me. "Sophie, I was wrong. I didn't mean to take your food, I swear. Please, I'm begging you, let me go. I'm planning on applying for civil service jobs after graduation. I can't have a criminal record. If you let me go, I'll do anything you ask." Yes, we were wrong. We'll pay you back double. Please don't press charges." They were apologizing, but I couldn't see a trace of remorse in their eyes. All I saw was the fear of being punished. There's a saying that fits perfectly. When they apologize, it's not because they realize they were wrong. It's because they realize they're screwed. In the end, all of them were taken into custody, and I did not choose to forgive them. As Ms. Tong was leaving, she shot me a venomous glare. Having 9 of her students turn out to be criminals would have a huge impact on her career. She was determined to make sure I never graduated. To ensure my own graduation, I compiled all the relevant information, recordings, and videos into a file, and sent it to the university administration and the Board of Education. I filed a formal complaint against Ms. Tong by name. Because the incident was so recent and had gained so much attention, the investigation was swift. An investigative team came down, the evidence was conclusive, and the process moved quickly. Ms. Tong was found guilty of professional misconduct, abuse of power, threatening a student, and obstructing academic research, among other charges. Her position as an advisor was revoked, and she was dismissed from the university. The school temporarily appointed another faculty member to act as our advisor. It was the recently discharged Mr. Reynolds. He was saddened by the outcome but still expressed his support for me. It's about time someone cleaned up this school. After graduation, I chose to stay at the university and become an advisor myself. And in doing so, I became a campus legend. There was only one rule associated with me. Whatever you do, don't steal Miss Sophie's food delivery. The end.